At the moment, the Thai authorities have started checking for illegal land ownership structures for foreigners. Setting up a company with a Thai nominee for land ownership is particularly under scrutiny. This scheme, pushed by unscrupulous lawyers and real estate agencies, is risky. If the authorities determine that the law has been broken, the company is dissolved and you also lose the right to live in your home. Moreover, you face criminal prosecution with a possible fine of 1 million baht and a 3-year prison sentence. A legally permitted way for foreigners to make use of land and the house on it is to enter into a 30-year lease. I explain how to do that and the pros and cons in this video. Step 1. Finding the land. You start by finding a piece of land you like. Maybe it's near the beach, in the countryside, or close to your home. Since foreigners can't usually own land in Thailand, leasing is the way to go. Step 2. Talking to the owner. You meet the landowner and discuss your plan. You agree that instead of buying, you will lease the land for 30 years. You also talk about the price, payment terms, and what you're allowed to build or do on the land. Step 3. Making an agreement. Once both sides agree, a lawyer or legal expert helps write a lease contract. This document clearly states the lease duration, 30 years, payment details, rights and responsibilities, what happens if either side breaks the agreement. Step 4. Checking everything before signing. You double check that the land has a proper title deed and that the owner is legally allowed to lease it. This step is very important to avoid problems later. Step 5. Signing the contract. Both you and the landowner sign the lease agreement. At this point, it becomes a legal commitment between both parties. Step 6. Registering at the land office. To make the lease fully legal and protected, you go to the local land office and register it. Without registration, a long-term lease is not properly enforceable. Step 7. Paying fees and taxes. There are small government fees and possibly taxes to pay during registration. Usually, you and the owner agree on who pays what. Step 8. Getting your lease rights. Once registered, your 30-year lease is officially recorded. Now you have legal rights to use the land for that period. Simple ending. Now you can use the land, build a house, start a project, or just enjoy living in the house, knowing your lease is secure for 30 years. So far, the official steps. Now for the practice. Be fully aware that as a foreigner, you are not the owner of this land or this house. That Thai person is the owner, even though you paid for the land. So make sure you choose a Thai citizen who can be trusted. I didn't handle that well. About 6 months after signing the lease agreement, I began to have concerns regarding the reliability of the Thai owner. She and her husband had been assisting us with various matters for some time. At one point, for an official application, she asked me to sign a contract written entirely in Thai. As I was not comfortable doing so without understanding its contents, I consulted my lawyer. He advised me not to sign, explaining that the document would effectively reduce my lease from 30 years to 10 years and included several other unfavorable provisions. When I raised these concerns, they responded by stating that we had signed similar documents previously. This led me to realize that documents may have been presented to us in the past without full clarity or proper explanation. This situation, combined with what I perceived as a lack of awareness about the importance of informed consent when signing legal documents, significantly affected my trust. Following this, the relationship became strained particularly after I expressed that my trust had been compromised. To this day, it appears that we have differing views on what constitutes appropriate practice when asking someone to sign a contract in a language they do not understand. As a result, our interactions have remained somewhat distant. Nevertheless, I remain contractually obligated to continue payments for the duration of the lease, and in practice still depend on the owner's cooperation for the continued use and enjoyment of the property. At the time these events unfolded, I had already planned a trip to visit my parents abroad. Given the circumstances, I became increasingly concerned about the security of the property during my absence. Although legal protections do exist, enforcing them can be time-consuming and uncertain. To mitigate potential risks, I decided to arrange for a security guard to monitor the house while we were away. Even now, I find that these experiences have made me cautious about leaving the property unattended for extended periods, as a certain level of trust in the landowner remains essential. For us, a 30-year lease was enough. We are both in our 60s, and in 30 years we will be dead, was our thought. There is sometimes talk that a lease can be extended to 90 years, but this is uncertain. Nothing is set in stone regarding the extension of the lease. Maybe in 30 years we will also have problems being allowed to live in our house if we get older than we think now. Bottom line, a land lease in Thailand offers both advantages and disadvantages, especially for foreigners who are generally not allowed to own land outright. One of the main benefits is that it provides a legal way to access and use land for a long period, typically up to 30 years. Compared to setting up a company or other ownership structures, leasing is usually more affordable and involves a simpler process, as the agreement can be registered at the land office. It also offers flexibility, allowing the land to be used for residential or business purposes without the full responsibilities of ownership. In some cases, contracts include renewal clauses that suggest the possibility of extending the lease beyond the initial term. Also, lease contract until death are possible. However, there are important downsides to consider. A lease does not grant ownership, only the right to use the land, which limits long-term control and security. Although renewal clauses may be included, they are not always legally enforceable, meaning there is no guarantee that the lease can be extended. As the lease term gets shorter, the value of the leasehold decreases, making it a depreciating asset. There are also risks with the landowner, such as death, sale of the land, or legal complications, which can affect the lease even if it is properly registered. Financing can be difficult, as banks in Thailand typically do not offer loans for leased land. Additionally, depending on the contract, there may be restrictions on building, transferring, or subleasing, often requiring the landowner's permission.